What's love, everybody?
Hello!
We're back a day later than we thought we were going to be. We're doing Mondays now, Monday nights.
Monday night's our new night.
And we just watched The Other Way. We watched Before the 90 Days. We're going to talk about all that. But until that, what's love, LA?
Love is summer. And today it was just 81 degrees in our area, which has been a nice, relaxing break from the insane heat we've had recently. So that's love for me. What's love for you?
You know what? I didn't even prepare anything.
Neither did I.
So I got
to think on my toes.
What's love for me? I'll say the dogs. We saw Gizmo today. Reminded me of Ginger. So that'll be what's love for me.
Okay, doggies are always love.
There you go. What's love for all of you out there? So like I said, we're going to talk about The Other Way episode 4, which just aired. Some of you might still be watching it and chiming in later. The Before the 90 Days episode 9, and we're going to do predictions on Before the 90 Day couples if they're going to stay together.
And we'll see who wins.
They'll see who wins. So we're going to start off with Before the 90 Days, and I always do this, but first we're going to do comments.
All right.
So these are the comments we got during the week. They are not this most recent episode. They're the episodes before. But let's see what we got. We got a comment about Statler.
Okay. Statler is awesome and so gorgeous.
Ooh.
I'm eccentric myself, so she gets thumbs up.
Someone is falling for the Statler magic, I see.
Yes, Statler does have some magic that we all just fall for.
And then Carmine Croons, how would you react if Statler was a man talking this much about their sex life? I brought that up because that's actually a fair point.
It's a fair point.
If we saw a guy doing all this talk,
he would be creepy, which I did call her, so yeah.
Well, that's true. So you did treat it that way, right? Got a comment about Amanda.
Amanda had no business going to Romania in the first place. Amanda, you had no business.
Nope. And it's evident Amanda is not over her husband yet. She is still grieving. And to throw her kids in the mess is not fair to them. Amanda, go home and give up the relationship right now. Yeah, I mean, seems to be a repeated theme every week.
Yeah.
And you could say maybe she's not throwing her kids into it because she is trying to keep them separate, like with him not visiting, but he is talking to them and such. So then we got, so I brought this, I'll read this one. We brought this up. This was a negative comment, but we get negative. Can you believe it? We get negative comments here and there.
Yeah, we do.
Not too many, though. Overall, it's been overwhelmingly positive, which we're very thankful for. But this guy said, you guys should learn to respect other people's culture, LOL. What's the point of sitting there and commenting on things you don't even understand? So we do get comments like this occasionally, usually from people from the culture we're talking about. And I think my response to that would be, the point is... well, first of all, when you react, you don't have all the information, right? You're only presented with what you see in that moment, and then later you might learn something else and have a different opinion. But really the point is you react, you cause conversation, you learn, and you grow. I mean, there are things we might not know about a culture, and we might learn to see it a different way. So I'm always like taken aback why people just be like, why do you talk like that? Instead, why don't you say like,
teach us.
A lot of people are like, our culture's like this. And, we look at things differently. So
we want to learn. Teach us. Allah, so cool. You so cool. Tell us. Teach us.
I like the conversation. So
let's talk.
Yeah, you don't have to be negative. You don't have to attack us.
Or you can. Bring it on. We like it.
You can. I probably won't respond. But anyway, now with some comments about Nicola and Meisha. Go ahead.
Hey, Monica Jones. Okay. He really lacks self-awareness and he thinks he's a catch. He surely does. I'm going to leave that there.
You can tell he's never had a girlfriend.
Ever.
She is a beauty and could be an exotic Bond girl in the movies. He is about as charming as an out-of-date mayonnaise. Meisha, run.
An out-of-date mayonnaise?
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm thinking that's not very charming. I'm thinking that's a negative comment.
I don't even think mayonnaise that is still in date.
Non-expired or regular. Now, if it was Miracle Whip, but...
Miracle Whip is charming.
More the mayonnaise. And then, yeah, what do we got here?
Yeah. Like many women, I have been in Meisha's position. It's like talking to a piece of rubber. Nothing sticks and it's all superficial. She needs to go home now.
That was,
I agree.
And we probably had another 100 Meisha and Nicola comments.
Were they mostly like that?
Yeah.
Like Meisha, get away from him, he sucks?
I remember there was one or two being like, oh, great, you're calling him misogynistic now. Like, just typical. Like, what's next? He's going to be racist and all that. So a couple were, like, on his side. But, like, most
How could anybody be on his side?
You know what? Everybody has a different opinion. And we embrace that. We have opinions, and I might change my opinion an hour from now based on something else. But anyway, this is Kenny and Armando.
They will do anything to stay relevant on TLC. It's all about the dollars.
I mean, you're not going to be on the show if you're not getting paid. So, I mean, that part is true.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would do anything, though.
I don't know.
Yeah. And then Riley and Violet, I could go on and on about comments here, but I pulled a few.
Okay. I'm Viet and my mom roasts me every day. I always complain about how we live in a hypersensitive world, but then I realized I just grew up differently. Okay, it's cultural.
That's fair. Now, we didn't realize this right away. We do read all the comments, but sometimes we don't see the replies, especially if they're to older videos, right? Because I don't get alerts for replies. I have to go into the actual video to see the thread. And we had Grace Henderson, somebody who responds. Yay! Responds quite often. Let us know that Riley was in our chats fighting for his life there, because Riley's been getting a lot of hate. Did you know that?
I did know that. Everybody hates Riley.
Because everybody hates Riley, apparently. But...
Oh, you gotta read all that.
Riley's got a few comments here, so we're not gonna read them all, but he does give, you know what, we're watching this to find out like what the relationship is like for them, and he's giving us some. So question: when the tell-all airs eventually and it's shown I'm a regular guy with responsible comments, will you give me an apology and admit that you may be just a little too involved with your opinion based on what the network wants you to see? Maybe it's just entertainment and they show you things to trigger an ill-informed response, which I talk about all the time. We're reacting to what we see. We get more information later. From viewers who run into the narrative based on 15 minutes of airtime a week. Seriously, on and on. Well, he's got a lot. I'm going to show you 3. It's not all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like we've been together. Oh.
The doggies. Sorry about that. Go on.
Willow's just jumping in. I guess, is she attacking Riley too? Does Willow hate Riley?
No. She was trying to give Riley some love. That's all.
So yeah, it's not like we've been together for 2 years and have been exclusive. Stupid me for being having responsible expectations from a person that I thought I'd been in a committed relationship with, in person or not. So I pulled this one in particular because we do get a lot of comments about people saying they just met, they weren't in a relationship, for all different couples, not just this one. Kind of just poo-pooing the idea that if you're in like a
online relationship
is not a real relationship. I don't think I hold that opinion. I do think when you're in person, things change. It's a different dynamic, and maybe you learn things about the person that didn't show through the online. But you are in a real relationship, like, right? You could be having dinner together every night, having really deep conversations, which is really building a relationship. Like, there's a lot of different ways you can communicate online.
Yeah, I think it depends on the couple. I mean, it seemed like in this instance, Riley took the relationship a lot more seriously than Violet did.
Right.
The online relationship part of it, but, you know.
And last one, so a lot of people are calling them passport bros, which I always found kind of an offensive thing to say to somebody. But I guess it's just somebody who's just going and trying to find relationships outside of the country.
Okay.
So
I didn't know what that was.
I feel like it's probably more derogatory than just that. But anyway, He's like, I had no idea what that term even existed. And when I was told by a blogger what it meant, I was offended. How could you not be? This is the first time I ever traveled to meet a woman, but I understand how people would think I was one, especially when I met the guy in the airport and we were talking. All my former girlfriends were American of different backgrounds. So, yeah, I would be offended by that too. So I get it. I do think it's interesting that he's in there like fighting.
Responding. He's responding. I don't know if it's fighting.
Yeah, it's not fighting. It's clarifying, I suppose. It's clarifying. And it does make me look forward to the tell-all because apparently he seems to think he's going to come off pretty well based on what he said. So.
I don't understand why everybody hates him so much. I still don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't really see anything that made me be like, Riley, you suck. I didn't get that.
And again, this is before this last episode, which we'll get to, the tragedy there. But David and Sheila, David was excited to be able to communicate with someone. Sheila seems nice, but will definitely need to work on her insecurities. I felt bad that she felt bad about our living situation because that is out of control. I hope they can make it. And this is about her jealousy with the translator and then showing David her home for the first time. But leading into this kind of hits different after last night's episode, which we will jump in right to it now. Yesterday's episode, we're opening up with the tragedy that was David and Sheila. Opens right up. We find out.
Yeah, that they are very distraught, and we found out that her mom passed away the day after David meets her. It's awful. She fell.
Yeah, we saw the preview from the previous week, wondering who died, and it was speculation that it was going to be the father or the mother. And I assumed that probably was the case, but it probably was over natural causes. And to find out that they fell basically because of the home that we saw was falling apart. You even made a comment about how does the mother get up and down those stairs, ironically enough.
Yeah, because it wasn't like an actual staircase. It was, I mean, David had trouble.
He had trouble, and apparently it broke, and somehow she fell.
And that's just awful to hear. Like,
of course, yeah, no, it was tough to watch, and we did react to this episode. I don't know. We tried to say some things, but I think most of the episode we were just quiet, just staring at the tragedy. So we see the funeral procession, which I actually think was kind of touching, where you see all the family and friends just walking down the street. As sad as it was, I felt a little moved by that. I thought that was touching.
Yeah.
And they're both kind of worried in this moment about each other. He's worried. David's worried that he's can't support her enough. She's worried that she can't focus on him now, clearly, and that could cause a rift in their relationship. And she said she needs some space, and she was happy that David gave her that space. And I feel like this. I think he handled it well. I think they were really getting even closer as a couple. He
was very, very supportive. He also supported her by like giving her the space that she felt as though she needed as well. So, yeah, just tough to watch, but it was good to see that he could be there for her.
No, definitely. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of that episode. I don't really have anything more to say. It was just really hard to watch.
Yeah, just praying for them and her, her process of being able to move on from that, and
definitely. And so we want to start to get the sad one out of the way, and this is a prediction show, so even though that was a sad moment, we do have to predict the future of David and Sheila's relationship. So what we're predicting now is basically by the end of the episode, are they going to be together? And if you want to take any further predictions, you can, as far as any proposals or future plans beyond the episode. But we're mainly focusing on the end of the episode. So we'll each make a prediction. Do you want to start?
Yes. This one's pretty easy for me. I feel like they are going to be together. I feel like so far any issues that they've had have been like pretty like I'm not going to say small, like naturally, like they have like real issues and concerns as far as like, you know, her son being there and then like her home. But I think they're going to be together. I feel like they'll be able to work through it. They seem like they genuinely have a lot of love for each other. And I think that they both have the ability to compromise and work through any issues they may have.
Yeah, so let us know if you're watching this live or if you're watching this later. Send us a comment. Let us know your predictions about each couple as we go through them. But I agree. I mean, this obviously is a big emotional moment, but as far as any issues with their actual relationship, we haven't seen any bumps in the road.
No, I mean, there's some issues with like communication and stuff like that, but
not enough to make you think it's not going to work.
Right.
I mean, Sheila more had the issues that she just didn't even explain to David about, but there's no reason to think he would react poorly to that. So, so that we predict the same for that. And did you know that sometimes in my free time, I create some computer programs and such? Did you know that? Did you know that?
You're a computer program creator?
Mm-hmm. So I created a very official device called the Relationship Prognosticator.
Whoa, fancy name.
I used the big word there, prognosticator. So we're going to predict, but we're also going to have the Relationship Prognosticator make a prediction.
Ooh, fancy.
So let me just get it started up, and we're going to ask the prognosticator, will David and Sheila stay together?
Wait, how does it work? We just ask it? Oh, wait, it's making a noise.
Yeah.
What is it saying? Come on, prognostic.
Outlook good.
Okay, all right, they're staying together.
So you doubted that this was a real thing, but clearly, if it predict David and Sheila is going to be together, I think that's pretty legit, right?
I'm just wondering, like, the tech behind it. Like, how does it really know?
I worked really hard on it. It took me 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. So it has to be accurate.
So it's, put my heart and soul in it. So next up, we're going to bring up Christian and Cleo.
Christian and Cleo.
Mm-hmm. So this last one, we saw them go out on a date on the town, and Christian bought Cleo a bracelet,
yes.
And then they went back to the house, and they did some VR and some wine.
Yes, they had a good night.
And they were talking about, Cleo said she was counting this as her first date, because this is the first date that they were really just the two of them and just no outside influence. And she really spoke about, like, you know, she doesn't want to look like she's a stick in the mud, but she also felt like he wasn't listening to her needs, right?
Yeah. That's accurate.
Yeah. And then later they talk about some of their intimacy issues, and Christian says it will just come when it comes, but she's like, well, you were talking a big game when we were talking online.
Yeah, she said, I believe we're both attracted to each other, so what's up? And he kind of was like, well, I wait for the girl to make the first move, so it'll just happen when it happens, which none of us are really buying, so. Prediction time?
Yeah, so, I guess that was really it.
That's all that happened.
Okay, so prediction time, what do you think?
I'm going to give it a no.
No? Elaborate, please.
Do I really need to?
Just a no. Like, no.
Okay,
no.
so I think that they are extremely different, and I feel like Christian doesn't. I feel like when they speak, he seems receptive to the things that she's saying, as far as, like, her being on the spectrum and, having a different set of needs than something that he may be used to. But I just don't think that he's going to be able to adapt, because he likes noise, he likes loud, he likes drinking, partying. Like, that's the type of thing that he's into, and she's really not into that at all. And then we also have the intimacy. I feel like I don't know if he's telling the truth about him waiting for the female to make the first move. I don't
So the end of the season,
they're not together.
They're not together. Yeah, it's a no for me too. I don't think he's genuine. I don't think anything about him is genuine, honestly. I think he might have went in with the best of intentions, but then he had some doubts about it along the way. I don't feel like he's fully into her like he's saying he is, but he doesn't want to admit it because he doesn't want to come off as maybe the bad guy. I don't know, but either way, I think it's a no.
Okay.
Let's see the relationship prognosticator. Let's see what they think. Don't count on it.
Okay, all right. We're in line with the prognosticator.
The prognosticator is agreeing with every word we say. All right, so we're going to move on to someone who was not in this episode, but we still need to make predictions on, Amanda and Razvan.
I'll let you go first. I already know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, this one's a harder one for me because she's not ready to be in a relationship, clearly, but eventually she's going to get there. Maybe if they spend enough time together, she'll feel comfortable enough with him where it will start to flow more naturally. But will he have the patience to stay with her through this process? I'm buying myself time because I think the answer, I'm going to say yes, they're still going to be together at the end, because I do think there was a sign when she was talking to her sister that maybe she was like, you know what, I do need to loosen up.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm going yes.
You're going yes by the end of the season.
Yep.
So this is like the last episode, not the tell-all. The last episode.
Well, you can expand upon it, but yeah, the end of the season, not the tell-all.
I don't know, there's part of me that agrees with you, but I'm gonna go with no. I'm just gonna go with no. She's not ready, and he wants something solid now.
Yeah, so we had some difficulty on picking this, and this first one we disagreed with. So please let us know. Is Amanda and Razvan going to stay together? Will they be together at the end of the season? Let's see what the prognosticator has to say.
What does the prognosticator say?
Without a doubt.
Okay.
So they're agreeing with me. 3 for 3, I'm in line with the prognosticator, which makes sense since I did design it.
Exactly. This thing is rigged.
So we're going with another one that was not in this last episode. So... okay, we can't predict if he's going to be with Carmela because that's not the case. I guess we can predict, will he meet the girl or will he meet Christian? I guess Christian. Will he meet Christian? That will be our prediction for this one.
Will he meet Christian?
Well, unless you want to say the girl who was in the picture. Will he meet either one?
He's going to meet somebody. We already know that from the preview. He's going to meet someone. One
of those two?
Yeah. I feel like he'll probably meet the person in the picture because they've kind of found her online. So I'm going to go with
And they do keep showing her pictures, so.
I feel like he's going to meet the girl in the photo.
Okay.
Whose name is Carmela.
Well, her
name online.
Her escort name is Carmela, yeah.
Okay. He's meeting Carmela. Maybe for pay.
No, he said he was going to go to Barbados, though.
I don't know. Who is Christian in Barbados? Like, who?
We don't really
Barbados?
know. We have no proof that Christian's actually in Barbados. Yeah, I guess he's meeting somebody. He's meeting somebody. What does the prognosticator have to say?
Outlook good.
He is meeting somebody. Me and the prognosticator. Thick as thieves. Next up, we got Statler and Dempsey.
Okay, so this one opens up with Statler waking up, and she said how cold she was last night. Like, she was absolutely freezing because there's no heat in the, what do they call it?
A caravan.
In the caravan. There's no heat in the caravan. It's like a trailer, what we would call like a trailer home or a tiny home here. Mm-hmm. It's nice though, but there's no heat. I guess Dempsey needed to get like some wood for the fire or something like that.
And it's unfinished. It's not plumbed yet.
Yeah.
There's just a few things. Probably heat too, though. I have a feeling we'll all be done eventually, but right now it's not.
And it seemed like Dempsey was doing a lot of the work herself in in the trailer. So, yeah, she's like, I don't know. I could be in over my head. Like, I don't know where I'm going to go to the bathroom. There's no hot water. I'm really cold. So she's kind of just complaining a bit. And Dempsey's going to collect firewood. Then they meet her, like, best friend whose farm it is. Mm-hmm. And he was pretty blah.
Well, before that, we kind of learned about Dempsey's journey to come to the farm, which I originally thought it was the father's farm. Because I do think she lives near the fathers. They're best friends. They're super close. But I guess when she was younger, her family were traveling carnival. What are they? Carnies, right? Like they took carnivals from place to place, and she did it with her other two sisters. And then her older sister tragically died, and it really shook her up. So at 18, she just got away from the family a little bit, moved on her own, and went from place to place. And what was his name? Ben. Ben was a friend. He's like, you want to come live on the farm and work? And she's like, yeah, because she had been bouncing around so much. And it's a beautiful, beautiful place. It's a place where people come for staycations. So there's a bunch of different like little cabins. Yeah, and they have a main space with like a really modern like bar and like pool table, ping pong table, TVs and all for people to congregate. So she gets to kind of like live a vacation life, but she's obviously working. She's cleaning the places. She's making the food. But Statler got to see more than just the little caravan this time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that and is there anything that's helped? No, I guess the only other thing to say would be Ben was just saying, hey, you got to slow down a little bit. That's all. You got to take this slow.
Yep, Ben the naysayer.
Yeah. So
okay.
Prediction time.
I'm gonna go with together. Absolutely, they just seem compatible. They seem like they're really into each other. Now, whether or not they get married and stay together long term, can't say. But by the end of the season, I'm gonna go with a yes. Okay,
and I think it's a clear yes. I mean, when they show the little shot of them together before each episode, they've been smiling in every single one.
Yeah.
They tried to manufacture some sort of issue. Oh, well, we didn't even talk about that, but the Statler brought up, like, I didn't hear from you a lot in Thailand. Were you cheating on me? And but it turned into, like, her own insecurities about being cheated on, and she actually, got emotional, which it's a sign of Statler we haven't seen. So even that wasn't an issue, and Dempsey handled it perfectly, like, made her feel loved and secure. So, heck yeah, they're staying together.
Great.
So what about the prognosticator? Decidedly so.
Does this thing ever say no?
I don't. I might have forgotten to put that in there. All right, next one we're talking about, which another one was on this episode. Riley and Violet, they are arguing after that last conversation with Tiffany.
Yeah, these two blocked each other. They hate each other.
They each said, I'm not going to be the first one to reach out. I want to talk to them, but I'm not going to be the first one, which shows how much they're alike, right?
Yeah.
Their equal stubbornness.
Yes, equally stubborn. Mm-hmm. So Riley takes a motorcycle tour.
With Tommy, the tour guide.
With Tommy, the tour guide. He takes a nice, lovely view all around the city. Then they stop at a cigar bar. And they have cigars and drinks. And then Riley proceeds to ask, what's his name? Tommy?
Tommy, the tour guide.
He asks Tommy, the tour guide, his advice on the whole Violet situation. Tommy, the tour guide, pretty much was like, hey, bro, you messed up. You need to reach out to her.
You got to apologize.
Yeah, he said that in our culture, your friend that's like a sister to you doesn't count.
It has to be real family.
Unless it's blood, we don't count it. So you're not allowed to have a friend attack her. Only family can attack her.
So like his dad could have, but not Tiffany.
Tiffany was...
You stepped over. Big problem here. You stepped over the line there, Tiffany.
Tiffany took it too far, which, again, like...
She did take it too far.
I mean, I feel like it was aggressive, especially, like, you never met before. Like, I felt like it was a little much.
Right.
I also think there's a chance that production may have set that up.
Yeah, definitely.
But, yeah, I thought it was a little bit too much. I do think it was worth the conversation to talk about, but not in that manner. And we all know Violet was not taking that well. We already knew once Tiffany started going off, Violet was going off too.
Yep.
So...
So yeah, Tommy said you got to go apologize. But how's he going to reach her if she blocked him? How's that going to work? She going to go to the family home? Is he going to go to the family home and give the mother some flowers? And
no, he'll reach out to her on the app because she's still on the dating app.
Oh yeah, that's
Remember?
true. Yeah, so this is a tricky one. Prediction time.
I'm going to predict it's going to be a no. I don't know. I feel like they kind of have like chemistry and they enjoy being around each other, but I can't tell that she's really into him. I can see that he's into her.
Yeah.
Or at least the person who he thought was her, prior, but I just can't, I'm not getting a read on her.
Okay, yeah, and I'm overthinking this because we read 3 of Riley's comments recently, and he mentioned the tell-all, and I'm like trying to say, okay, what is he implying there? Like,
let's read between the lines.
He said, like, he basically says, like, you're gonna understand my perspective from that. Yeah, so that would mean. You know what? I'm going to say... this is a tough one.
Come on.
I know.
Spit it out.
All right. Well, help me out. Somebody here.
We ain't got all night.
Next person who writes if they're going to be together. That's what I'm going to go with. All right. I am going to say no as well. I'll go no.
You're just stealing my answers.
I mean, that's my true, honest opinion. But what does the prognosticator say?
Prognosticator. Yes. Yes what?
Yes, they're going to be together.
This prognosticator is broken. It says yes for everything.
Well, we said no, so it's the first time it disagreed with us. That's saying something, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now we got Gino and Jasmine, and they're all getting ready for Liz's birthday. That's Jasmine's sister, ready to buy her a necklace. And, Jasmine's like, well, while we're here, why don't we go look for some rings? Because she lost his engagement ring.
No, that's not what she did. She didn't say, hey, Gino, let's go look for some rings. She said to the jeweler, can you bring out the rings, please?
Right. But she lost the other ring he gave and said that she never really liked it. And I wouldn't give it to anybody I know or my worst enemy, basically.
Yeah, she hated the ring. Mm-hmm. So she lost it.
And, of course, she brings up he doesn't want to buy her the ring. So then she brings up, well, you got to use money to pay for a lawyer for the K1 visa. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that either. And he storms out.
Let me just say, anyone who loses their engagement or wedding ring, don't trust them.
Yeah, that's true. Never.
Don't trust them. Yeah, so pretty much Gino gets mad and he's like, oh, heck no. And he kind of storms off because he's like, I'm not paying for a lawyer and I'm not getting a ring, Jasmine.
Mm-hmm. But then they're like, he was saying, oh, well, maybe I didn't handle that well because the therapist said when she gets angry, I shouldn't get angry back. I should diffuse the situation.
Yeah, which he did not do.
So they go and meet with Liz's sister, hand in hand. And
Liz's sister?
Or Jasmine's sister, Liz. And they get on that 4-person bicycle. What's the name of that thing?
A 4-person bicycle.
4-person bicycle. And Liz sits in the back. It's her birthday, but for some reason Gino and Jasmine get to sit in the front and have a very uncomfortable conversation with her in the back.
About their favorite subject.
Yeah. It's not about Liz at all.
Nope. They talk about...
I've never orgasmed with you, Gino.
Yep, and Gino's like, you're lying, Jasmine. You have orgasms with me all the time.
So then they get to go eat some ice cream, and he unveils a new ring, but it's not an engagement ring. It's a promise ring.
Yep.
Which, isn't that going backwards? Like, they were engaged, now he's giving her a promise ring?
Yeah, he said once she comes to the U.S. before they get married, he'll buy her an official engagement ring. But not right now.
So happy birthday, Liz. I hope you enjoyed it. At least you got an ice cream cone.
These two are a wreck.
These two are a wreck. So are they in so much of a wreck that they're not going to stay together?
They are so much of a wreck that they will stay together.
Yeah, they are equally, they're just made for each other.
They're equally annoying and crazy.
Yep. I'm saying the same thing. No, I don't even need to elaborate. They're staying together. Let's see what the prognosticator says.
We're going to see if this thing is really working.
You may rely on it. Once again,
Everybody's staying together according to the prognosticator.
Prognosticator loves love, clearly. So we got our last one who was not in this episode, but Meisha and Nicola.
Meisha and Nicola.
I have my answer already, but go ahead.
Me too. You want to say it at the same time? Because we're probably going to say the same thing.
All right, yes or no? 1, 2, 3. No. Yeah. No chance for me. I just don't think he's going to just come around. I think he's stuck in his way of thinking, and he doesn't understand her. He doesn't understand women.
No, I don't know who he understands. He doesn't
understand relationships, I should say.
He's very much in his own head, and it's funny because he's been single his entire life. So you would think he may listen to someone who may know a thing or two about relationships. But yeah, no, I will be very happy to see Meisha walk away from this relationship and go live her best life. Without Nicola.
And she is going to come from this, and she's going to get a lot of opportunities after the show. I mean, she was already in TV, so she already has that professionalism. And so now that she's gotten a little notoriety, she'll move on.
And she's very likable. She's very likable on the show. She speaks to him in a way that patiently in a way that he would be able to understand, and he still's just not getting it. So listen, if she stays with him, then I don't have as many good things to say about her anymore because it's just not even worth it.
Yeah, so we know what we think, but what does the prognosticator say? So far, it's had everybody together. Outlook good.
This thing's broken. You need to reprogram it.
What is going on? Everybody is staying together, but you know what? That's, it may be true, so we'll find out.
Okay, so now we have to not only tell you guys if we're correct,
but if the
prognosticator was correct.
It's a three-way street, and maybe if you're correct as well. If we get enough responses, we'll kind of compile them and see what
everyone thinks.
See what everyone thinks as a whole. So that was the end of Before the 90 Days. We're moving on to
The Other Way.
The Other Way, which we just finished. What'd you think of this episode?
It was cool.
It's hard to remember now, right? We're just going to have to bring them up one at a time. That's how you remember. So we finally got them back.
Danielle and Yohan.
And they actually seemed happy in the beginning, which I was really surprised by, because didn't they just break up?
Yes. What was the last thing we watched them on?
They were on the tell-all. It was The Other Way as well.
The Other Way, yes. So
the last season.
The last season of The Other Way, they were not fun to watch at all. They were both miserable.
No, I really didn't like when their segment came up every single time. And they're like, okay, we need to change our whole image.
They were happier. Her friends were there. They were smiling. They got a puppy. So I'm like, okay.
Gizmo.
They were smiling.
Yep.
Yohan was being charming.
And they said they're going through therapy, and they both kind of start to compromise. And Danielle even said, yeah, maybe my way of thinking of my way or the highway is maybe not the right way. Like, maybe I don't lose my independence if I actually work with my husband.
Right.
That's what you have to do to keep a marriage together. So we learned that his butcher shop didn't work out.
But because the owner of the shop decided...
Made it an office, and Yohan didn't have a contract.
A written contract, yes.
But they're thinking of opening a gym where she can do yoga, he can do his fitness
personal
training.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like it could be good ideas, particularly if it was in a resort area, I would think.
Yeah.
And her friends come to visit, and usually when the friends come to visit, there is some attacking of or ganging up on. We saw that with for example, I always go back to Rishi, right? But when her friends came to town, they were asking him really hard questions. That's usually what happens. But this was more we support you. You both have to compromise a little bit.
Yeah, it was positive.
Yeah, for once.
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. So next up, we got Holly and Wayne. They were just in, I think, one segment, and they went dress shopping.
Yes, because Wayne does not like all Holly's short dresses, and he says it's very dangerous in South Africa to wear short dresses. So
And he accidentally uses the term prostitute.
He did. He said, I don't want people to think you're a prostitute. And listen, no one wants to hear that. So Holly was very upset by it, but he was apologetic. She cried.
Yeah.
And I guess they purchased some dresses.
I don't know, because I think we left off with her crying in the dressing room.
Oh, with her mom, yeah.
With the mom going to console her. Do you think he legitimately has a concern for the safety, or do you think it's just more of like a control issue? Like, is he pulling a Mahmoud? The way he made Nicole cover up because you're mine now, you're my property, or is he? Or is
it could be both. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. He's saying that over there, if you wear something short, maybe if he's not around, like maybe people could be aggressive with her. I don't know. Is there anyone out there from South Africa? Because we're hearing a lot of things, and I don't want to just say things, but...
Yeah, well, we saw with Ronald and, was it Tiffany?
Yes.
Ronald and Tiffany, they had similar concerns about safety.
They did, but they never had... I don't think they had, like... Did they have people break in and stuff?
No, I don't know. She was definitely looking for gated communities.
Okay.
But I remember them talking about all the safety concerns.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty valid when you find out that his dog was killed.
Yeah.
From 3 break-ins.
That's just, yeah. So so yes, with those things being said, I mean, yeah, it sounds like, is he really? Is that true? But honestly, maybe so. We just don't. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's going to be their obstacle, the safety concerns, clearly, because they do seem that they generally care about each other. So
yeah.
2 people who I don't know if they care about each other is TJ and Kimberly. How about those crazies today?
Crazy.
Yeah. Kimberly was having a meltdown on the 2nd floor for all to see because he didn't get the curtains.
Yeah, I mean, she was very upset because she felt like the apartment just wasn't up to her standards, and she went crazy. And she called him a word he really didn't like that we can't. D. Yeah, we can't even say. It begins with D.
Yeah, and I like in the reaction, I went back and forth on it because like she didn't say he was one, she said he was acting like one, so the intent wasn't there. But I mean, I understand why he got offended by it. That's the cultural too, because he took it just the moment he heard that word, it doesn't matter what the intent was. It's
I mean, like that's like if you call a woman a C. For some people, like that's really a bad thing to say. So like I mean, I may have called you that. Or said you were acting like that before. I don't know, but
you would never do that.
Like not seriously.
What are you
but
talking about? You wouldn't even joke about something like that.
However,
you might have thought it a lot.
She's in a different country. Yeah. Yes, may have thought it a lot, and people take things a certain way. So I feel like this is just who's calling you.
I know. During our live show, are you kidding me?
This is just one of those things where we gotta understand that our cultures are different, and you can't just throw around any words without thinking someone won't get offended by it.
Right. So next day, they slept apart. He slept downstairs. She slept upstairs. She said that she was getting bit by mosquitoes and she couldn't flush the toilet, and just listing all the things wrong. But he went up trying to make I think he brought her food or something and wanted to just start fresh. And she brought up the issues again. And finally screaming like, why won't you just admit that you hurt me? Like, just recognize that you hurt me and let's move on. And when she was screaming like that, I looked at him and I thought, okay, he's going to just calm down and try to diffuse the situation. But nope, he just storms off.
He walked away. I don't think he's responding well to the screaming. And they do share a house with his family.
Yeah.
I don't think either one of them are acknowledging how they're making the other person feel.
Right. No.
And she came in super hot.
Neither one is understanding the other. neither one is bending or compromising. Also, he's got his brother who thinks very the other way, like doesn't want to see and has no reason to see her side. Like TJ does, he's marrying her, like they have to make a good marriage, but his brother doesn't. His brother's in his ear the whole time, like this isn't right, this isn't right, this isn't right.
Right.
So yeah, if we were doing predictions,
I would predict it.
But we're not there yet. Well, let's get through about half the season and move on to Mary and Brandan. So he's home with the grandparents. They're cooking. His grandmother's making fried chicken, and she likes that he likes it.
Yeah,
right?
that fried chicken looked delicious.
He's being respectful, and then he asked if they can sleep in the same room together.
Now, I just knew they were going to say no because they're not even allowed to kiss or touch. But the grandparents were like, okay, thanks for asking. Yes. And Mary pretty much said that, like, some things are allowed. You just have to ask first. So maybe
they can hug and kiss, but they can't.
Have to ask first. Is it every time?
No, I think this probably gave him the go-ahead to do that now that he showed his respect. But just no making love. No
intimacy until marriage, which Brandan gets a little worked up about that.
Well, Brandon's like, well, we had phone sex or cam sex
like every
night for the last 2 years, and now you're being all shy. Went to the point where they were back to back, feet to head, like no touching.
Yeah, Mary was like, no, because he even asked, like, so hey, are we gonna? And she was like, no, absolutely not.
And his point was, like, I thought we would have at least held each other, like that's what he wanted, but she thought, well, that might lead to something.
Yeah, and she said she wanted to be respectful, but she also said that she just wasn't ready.
Now, originally, the house they were building was supposed to be just for them, but because of the typhoon, her grandparents' house was destroyed, so now they're living with them. So now they really don't have
They don't have any privacy, and the grandparents are still, like, calling the shots, even though Brandan paid for the house. So.
Yeah. But I have to say, Brandan, like, there are a lot of things, like, there are a million bugs in there, and giant spiders and all that, and there's, little things that could turn somebody off, but he's like...
Big cockroaches.
Yeah, he's like, I lived in a car, I lived in a camper, like, this is better than I've lived most of my life.
Rats, lizards, all types of things. And he took that very well. I mean, occasional bug I could do, a huge cockroach, a huge furry spider, no. Lizards maybe, but the rats, I'd have been out of there.
Yeah, so far they seem pretty good.
They seem compatible.
Compatible. We haven't had an opportunity to test her jealousy issues yet.
Or his. Because we heard that he has some too.
Okay, so but that's mainly because they haven't really seen anybody. They haven't gone to family, friends, or they haven't gone out in the town. Like, where they go out in the town and he talks to a shopkeeper, is she going to get jealous? She's by his side.
And all her friends are guys. How's he going to like that?
Yeah, so we have to, well, I'm sure we'll see all that.
I'm excited to see that. I like watching them.
Yeah. So now we got Kirsten and Julio, or
this took a
Julio.
Julio took a turn for me.
So they meet his family. We're playing dominoes, and they're loud Dominicans, and she's used to a very quiet family, very different. And they just find out, for some reason, he just told his family, like, I'm moving over there. They didn't know that, so he didn't give them a warning. So they're shocked. And they're like, well, why doesn't she stay here 2 months if you stayed there? So he's like, why don't you stay here 2 months? I don't know why he's saying that. But...
And she's like, whoa, wait, we haven't discussed this. We had a plan. Now, all of a sudden, in front of your family, we're changing the plan.
But he seemed excited to go over there and start his new life.
He did.
It feels like he's very easily influenced by everyone.
Yeah.
So then they go to her first Halloween party, because they don't really have that where she's from. And
they're both all dressed up.
Meet with his friend Vincente, who said, well, he doesn't have anywhere to go if you get in an argument, no family or friends. So why don't you live separately? He's like, yeah, why don't we live separately?
Yeah, I get an apartment and you stay in your own place.
You stay here 2 months, and then we won't live together over there.
Says it right in front of the Vicente. And again, she's like, jaw drop, caught off guard, like, wait. So now you don't want to live with me? What is happening? We had a plan.
So this couple seem I don't know, very
They started off well.
very compatible. Started off great. Now you can see how he can be influenced, but in the end, I think he's just going to bend. I think he's just going to not worry about her living there. He's going to move over. They're going to live together. I don't think it's going to derail them. But
I hope so, because I don't like how he's. I just don't like he's not backing her up. He's not supporting her. She's now in a country alone.
Right.
She doesn't have anybody to rely on, and now he's kind of ganging up on her with his family and friends. That's not a good feeling.
No.
So I'm hoping there's more to it that we're just not seeing, and that he is supportive, and then it works out. But if not, I think she should head on back home and leave Julio right in New York.
Turn Julio into Julio? Is that what you want to do?
Whatever his name is.
Well, he's Julio in Europe, but he's Julio at home, so.
I'll call them both Julio, Julio.
And last up, we have Kenny and Armando. Armando's mom came to visit.
She did, and they just they went in hot. They went right away and, pretty much... told her that
before you get to that, they came up with a plan, and their plan was to show her around Mexico City, to show her like how much she could really like it, and then once she kind of fell in love with it, then they were going to break the news. But instead, they just basically took her to a restaurant and said, "Hey, Mom."
Based on what we saw, we didn't see any of her taking them
we
around.
can only go off what we see here. So.
Oh, and we did. So we found out that where they currently live is 4 hours away from the mom.
Right.
But if they were to move to Mexico City, that is a 5-day drive. Yeah.
But
she flew there.
So it's not really. Which, okay, that costs money, but...
Right. So they pretty much, Armando says, "Hey, Mom, we've been, kind of thinking about, moving to Mexico City. That's something that Kenny's really interested in." And she starts the waterworks. "Why are you doing this to me? You're purposely trying to hurt me. First you moved once, now you're going to move even further away. Why would you do this to your mama?"
Yeah, and then how did he handle that?
Very well. He said, No, Mother. I was not supported when I lived with you. No one accepted me for the person I was. No one cared about how I felt and how I was suffering.
Nobody said I love you. Nobody hugged me. Nothing.
Acknowledged what he was going through at all. All they did was kind of make it about them.
So he had to leave town. He
yes.
had to leave town to get a fresh start, and Kenny was the one who made him kind of lose that pain.
Yes.
And she came around and went to the wedding and ended up supporting him, but he's talking about the years of pain before that.
Yeah, he made a really good point that hit well with me. Is he said that like it's triggering for you now to make this situation about you. And I feel I made a comment and said I feel like some parents often do that with their kids. It's almost like, whatever they're feeling about their child's decision, they then turn it and make it about them, when sometimes it has nothing to do with the parent. It has everything to do with what the kid needs to do to live their life and be an adult.
Yeah, so Armando really showed a side that I hadn't seen with him, and he stood up for himself, which we saw Kenny was trying to get him to stand up for himself in this world. Now he's starting to do it, even to Kenny. So he's like, I created a monster.
But he handled himself very well. He made his point very clear. And I really enjoy watching Armando come into his own.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering what Hannah was thinking that whole time, because she was just stuck there, like, looking around.
Crying.
She knows Spanish and English, so
she knows exactly
what's going on both sides. So, so we'll see the mom's there to visit, so I'm sure we're going to see her for at least the next episode and see how she handles that. I bet you she bounces back.
She will.
Yeah, they'll buy her a plane ticket here and there.
Exactly.
But that's the end of the episode, so we covered... That was the other way we did before the 9 days, and we made our predictions. Please let us know what your predictions are for the end of the season.
Are you in line with the prognosticator?
Yeah, the prognosticator came up large. It said love for everybody.
Everybody's
It didn't have a single one where it was a no. Anyway, everybody who tuned in, thank you for tuning in. And if you're watching later, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all those things.
Do it all.
Anyway... See y'all next week.
Bye-bye.
Love you.
Prediction.